Okay, so in the last activity, we added a search bar which allows us to filter our results. So just wanted to give a summary of what we did, just so that we can make sure that everything's in the right place because there's a lot that we went through. So looking at our storyboard here, first thing is to make sure that your TableView controller is embedded in the navigation controller. So if you haven't done that already, it's just editor, embed in navigation controller, but that should be set up because the navigation controller will control it. We don't actually need to add in the search bar. Okay, it'll automatically do it because of the navigation bar, navigation controller. Okay, so we're going to be working within the table view controller. Ignore my extra table thing there that doesn't need to be there. But the first thing we started off doing was to add in this property here, and that just allows us to make sure that we have this property ready to start, the search controller appearing. The next thing we did was to make sure that we made our class a subclass of UI search results updating. This means that the library will be available for us to start using. And with that, you'll notice that an error will pop up straight away. So with that, if you just click fix, and then this method for update search results here will appear. Okay, so these are all sitting above our view did load at the moment. We'll have this method, and for the time being, you just had to do in there, and later on we added in this section here. So then we went into view did load, and we set up these different properties. So the first protocol we defined here, just make sure that it confirms to our new protocol that we just imported up here. Then we set this property, so this just makes sure that it doesn't disappear into the background, so we set that to false. Then we had a placeholder for this property here, and we just set that to search location, so that's the default text which will appear. Then we set our navigation item to our new search controller, which we defined up here. And then finally, we made sure that the search controller isn't always present as we move across different navigations. So it's only true within this context. So then just outside of our view did load, we created our new filtered data list. So it's an empty array at the moment, and it's going to receive our weather types. So we defined these weather types previously here, and we were using them before we put them into this data method. So inside here, we just set a blank list, and this is where we're going to put our filtered method in, filtered data in. Then we created a new method called isSearchBarEmpty. So this is here, and all this does is checks that if there's text inside in the box. If there is, then it returns true, and we'll come back to this later on and use this method, but we just set this up for now. Then we created another method called filter content for search text, which is here. Okay, and this one here just looks at our data, which again we set up inside here, our previous data. And we're filtering that to see if it matches the search text. We set it all to lowercase just to make it a bit easier for searching. And then we applied that to our new filtered data once we were done. And finally, that one refreshes the data within our table to make it appear. After we did this, we went back up to the to-do section and we updated our properties. We created the search bar property. We called our method, which we created here, and added the search bar text, so the text which was inside the search bar. Next, we went to our default methods for our table. So previously you would have had these set up just to display data within, but we're checking if the status, if it's focused and it's filtering the data, then it will use our filtered data to check how many rows rather than our default data. And then finally, inside cell for row at, we just made a little bit of an adjustment here to check if it's filtering. If it does, then it uses our new data. Otherwise, it uses our ordinary data, and then we apply our new data, or we just return it as we did before. Okay, so a lot of this was previously done. We just added some extra information to apply for our filtering. So once you have that set up, you can run it, and hopefully this should now work. Go back. So if I search for Melbourne, it should come up with Melbourne, not Perth.